Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, June 28th, 10:28 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. Thankfully, my computer works, and we can see this epic sped up footage of Mount Agung and the fury of Mother Nature. Whew. Thomas Ozan kicking out this footage for us from multiple views, and you'll get links to both of them. These eruptions happening just in the last 48 hours. Let's play this one. Whew. Glorious. Look at the glow in the ash plume. Absolutely fantastic. Heads up. This is 5 kilometers ejecting into the atmosphere. Tons of material. Absolutely cooling the Indonesia region. And probably scaring the out of many people. Heads up. So what I want you guys to do to come to Thomas Ozan, subscribe, give him a thumbs up, tell him why he all of a sudden had 400 subscribers in one night. Diamond sent you. And that's a boom. Tonight's first boom to science. Hills ablaze above Manchester as UK wildfire rages for the 4th day. Look at the Merlin full moon strawberry sunrise over the fairy ring fire. Wow, double pop. Yes, it's true. Do you live in a hotspot for civil unrest? We'll get to that. UK wildfire raging for 4th day. We have interesting footage here. Wildfire raging for the 4th day throughout the dry grassland to the east of Manchester in the north of England on Wednesday as Britain sweated through one of the hottest and driest summers on record. The blaze started on Sunday in Saddleworth Moor, an expanse of hills cloaked in purple heather is popular with hikers and home to bird species including the endangered golden plover and curlew, and the common red grouse especially. It has since spread over the area, over 7 square miles, and firefighters have requested help from the military. It's dry as a tinderbox up there, said Brenda Warrington, leader of the Tamside Council, at a news briefing in the early afternoon. A lot of wind is fanning the flames, she said. The situation is very changeable because the winds had arisen again in the area since the morning. Heads up to the Queen Mother. The hills are ablaze. Whew. Northern California wildfires, Pawnee fire crews preparing for strong winds this weekend. Lassen residents evacuate. Good news, some Lake County residents are able to return to their homes Thursday as crews fighting the Pawnee fire brace for warm, windy weekend. Look at that. The battle against the Pawnee fire captured in amazing. Look at that's high def. That is fire retardant. There, I said it. I said retardant. Totally. Wow, she must be losing her home. Either that or painting a picture. Is that an easel? What's happening here? This footage is care of the Sacramento Bee, and it's not even a video. It's just a picture. It's a picture of pictures. What you're witnessing now is what they call a slideshow. Here, clearly we can see a man spraying water into this plant, which needs desperately a drink. Some Lake County residents were able to return to their homes Thursday as crews fighting the Pawnee fire braced for a warm, windy, wild weekend. Meanwhile, some new conflagration forced some Lassen County residents to evacuate. Some in, some out. Here's a roundup of the latest information. You'll get links all below where it says show more. Wind shifting makes smoke from the 416 fire more visible. Whew. Thank God. We at least know where it is. It's completely in a wilderness area and out of harm's way. The 416 fire remains 37% contained, has burned 36,000 acres, and not a single structure, thanks to the awesome fire crews in this region. Potent storm to bring heavy rain and snow to Chile and Argentina this weekend. Yes, this is a time lapse. Yes, it is. Of a snowflake. This is for all the snowflakes watching that think that Al Gore is correct and they don't understand science. Watch it grow, snowflake. Oh, there it is. Keep your eye on the prize. Look at the tiny detail. Well, all we see is the little spinny thing. I wish it would parse faster. Oh, there it is. Thanks, AccuWeather, for overloading the computer. But that's science. in fact. Take a look. Take a look at science forming as hydrogen dioxide changes state. I know your mind is being blown, but hydrogen dioxide is water. And when it gets below 32 degrees, ice crystals form. And sometimes as they're dropping from the clouds, they form snowflakes. Not the type that believe Al Gore, but the type you're looking at right here. The type that is being shown by science. And that's a heads up. Potent storm brings heavy rain and snow to Chile, Argentina this weekend, including snowflakes. As winter continues across Chile and Argentina, a storm will unleash heavy rain and mountain snow this weekend. Rain will spread into the central east coast with tons of snow north, just east of Santiago. Up in the mountains, you're going to be buried. And it's winter, so that's not even news. But I had it up there because of that snowflake video, which was totally awesome and worth the wait. And it was worth the lame news because it always snows in winter unless you listen to Al Gore. He says it's going to stop. Cape Town weather. Yes, Africa. Prepare for 4 days of rain and snow. Yes, that's snow. 4 days of it. The Cape Town weather forecast is a blessing. Locals again, yes, as rainfall is set to douse the region, which was supposedly never going to get water ever again for 4 consecutive days. In fact, patches of snow have also been predicted by sources at Ventusky. It comes during a time where Cape Town's water situation seems to be easing by the day. Already this week, the South African Weather Service claimed that above average precipitation would hit the Cape this year. Not only that, but the dam's water levels are now pushing the 50% mark. Good news. I love good news. No one reports on good news. Snow in the cards for the KZN in July. Durban, South Africa. Snow watchers will be thrilled to know that according to Snow Report South Africa, the cold front heading to the province at the weekend is likely to bring a blanket of snow across the country. Yes, it's true. By Sunday evening, we should see some snowfall over the peaks in the majority of the Cape Mountains. We may see more than 15 centimeters in some ranges. Check it out. 10 centimeters plus over here near Lesotho and KwaZulu-Natal. Who knows where these countries are, but they're there because we have internet. Yes. Here's Fox News. Nothing to do there. I have no idea what that was. Let's come to the GFS, and you can see what I'm about to show you. And that's this heavy thunderstorm band from Montana through North Dakota that is happening right now. It's going to move east into the morning, probably crushing crops and rising prices. Heads up. National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map. We look like a heat wave setting into the central craton, unprecedented unless you go back to, let's say, 1934, the centennial minimum, areas when we drop into solar minimum. We get major heat waves and major cold phases. We get huge hail. We change from a zonal flow to a meridional flow. And that's bad news for crops, folks. Global unrest is imminent. Red flag warning will fan the flames in multiple fires throughout this region. Heavy thunderstorm warnings and watches, as well as hail warnings and watches. I'm telling you, up in North Dakota, crops will be crushed. We're going to be talking about them tomorrow. Things are going to light on fire down here where it's maroon and peach because it's going to be up 100 degrees. Yes, and that is science. Yes, we'll probably be right too. Yeah, it's amazing how we do that, how we use science to predict things. Unfortunately, the bomb doesn't use science to predict things, and Aucklanders experience a little cold and they can't cope because they're hoping for the grand solar minimum not to be overridden by this global warming. Now, it's the question on every New Zealander's lips today. How did Aucklanders survive a chill that saw temperatures in the country's biggest city dip to 0 degrees yesterday? The temperatures in New Zealand's biggest city hit a 3-year low early Wednesday, the coldest morning in 1,081 days. I just broke my cheek. Or since July 2015, if you don't know how to do math, according to NIWA. That's an acronym. You should Google that if you don't know what that word is. Here's NIWA weather. Whew, it's very confusing. With a minimum temperature of plus barely a degree in Auckland this Wednesday, it's the coldest morning in 1,081 days, Al. What a D-bag. Whew. And I used to trust him. I mean, he was my hero. Bureau of Meteorology, the biggest fraud in history coming from Australia. Some call it the bomb. We call it the boom. Let's boom the bomb. Canberra had its coldest run of June morning since 1965. They said we're going to burn up. Monday. What a bunch of idiots. I must have clicked something. Canberra had its coldest run of June morning since 1965. Yes, the facts are in. These are facts. And it's called science. It's not called fear-mongering. It's called facts. Facts based on the current modern eddy minimum forecast. Here you're looking at the new model CMIP 6 data. This is what the mainstream believes. We don't believe this cockamamie nonsense. This is a candy-coated version of reality. This is what we believe. You are here and we are going down. Guys, if you didn't know, you're living in an ice age and we're in something called an interstadial. These warm tips lead society into the false sense of security, and then it is ripped away from them because of the sun. As the sun diminishes, as we descend into the modern eddy minimum, the grand solar minimum, crop loss and failure is what we really need to be worried about. We don't need to be worried about cold because, as we're reporting on, there is also extreme heat. There's also extreme hail. It is the wacky change in weather that causes the global unrest. These are conditions that do not bode well for agriculture. Yes, this was the fourth consecutive day where minimum temps were below -5°C in Canberra, as predicted by us and even some global warming believers, if you believe it. So the bomb has been boomed. Yes, they have. By science. Well, it's actually called facts. You can't hide from it. Eventually, everyone is going to realize the jig is up. Severe drought affecting 40% of Inner Mongolia doesn't bode well for crops. A persistent drought is affecting 40% of China's remote northwestern region, Inner Mongolia, causing over 91 million in direct economic losses, which will not compare when the big event happens, because if you do not have supplies, it will be too late. Yes, it's true. Seismic update. No quakes of note, but Kilauea is back on track. We could be looking at another uptick, 5.3 volcanic explosion happening at the main caldera. We have a major uptick in the Indonesia region. And as predicted in grand solar minimums, this is where the VEI 6-7 emanates from. And it looks like this major uptick, we could be seeing this in the near future, kids. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's quickly come in here on Kilauea, and I want to show you some other predictions that I'm willing to make and put my career on the line. Oh, I don't have a career. Okay, excellent. Well, nothing to lose here, folks. Please. My computer, I finally did a little work on it, purged a few things, and now we're going around the world in 180 clicks. Guys, if we come up here on Kilauea, what I want you to take notice of is the East Rift Zone didn't have any earthquakes today at all. You can see here just 3 quakes happening in recent time, but the major seismic activity is happening at the main caldera and just east and south of the main caldera. Why is that significant to us? Because we could be seeing a major explosion happening south and east of the main caldera in the coming days. Or we could see a major fracture dropping back down, enlarging this caldera to major size. So look at this area of concentration of uptick in this region. We could see a rift form here, a new caldera exploding. And I think that this is something to take note of. I want to say it so when then a big explosion happens south and east of the main Kilauea caldera, I've warned you. We are almost through. Alerts raised for Cleveland volcano after detection of small lava flow out in the Aleutians of Alaska. Look at this cloud. It looks just like a UFO. Heads up, Tyler. I bet you get 1 million views for that one. The Alaska Volcano Observatory has raised the aviation color code from Cleveland from yellow to orange 2 days ago after detection of small lava flows inside the summit crater. Satellite observations in Cleveland volcano on June 25th indicated presence of a small circular lava flow, about 80 meters in diameter, covering the floor of the summit crater. Uptick much? We're going to get on with it because we have lots of volcanoes to talk about. Intense eruption starts at Sierra Negra volcano. We talked about this just weeks ago. Now evacuations ordered. Translate. Now we speak English. Evacuations were ordered in Galapagos, Ecuador. A new eruption started at Sierra Negra volcano, Galapagos, Ecuador, 2140. That's 1340 local time. June 26, 2018, following intense seismicity in recent weeks. That sounds like a seismic uptick. Now, this is a shield volcano similar to Kilauea, so people have time to get away. It's almost like slow motion. You can run slowly and still escape. But the plume of volcanic ash mixed with SO2 and other gases, which is rising up to 8 kilometers, does not bode well for locals. We know what LAZE and HAZE and LASH and all those other acronyms are. They suck. And when you breathe them in, you die. And your lungs get burned, and it's not good. So if you have a YouTube channel and you think going up here and taking a picture is good for your views, it's bad for your health. Heads up. Mount Agung exploding. New eruption of Mount Agung disrupts air travel in Bali. Well, heads up. It better. Look at this. If you're a plane and you're flying over this, you're probably in your pants. And if you're a pilot and you didn't know this was going to happen and you're up here, well, you're dead. Look at that. It's amazing. Wow. Look at the colors. This is my favorite. Let's blow it up. Literally. Boom! Thank you, Mount Agung, for just giving me what I need today. Clearly, the Earth has gas. Yes, that's a boom. New eruption at Mount Agung disrupts travel. Several eruptions were registered at Indonesia's Mount Agung, Bali. On the 27th and 28th, 2018, the eruptions produced a dense ash plume that rose 5 kilometers above sea level and forced Air Asia to cancel numerous flights on June 28th. Officials in Ngurah Rai International Airport are still assessing whether to halt operations again. Well, they're assessing it because if this baby blows again, the operations will be halted. At least 27 Asia Air flights scheduled to arrive to and depart from Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport, DPS, Denpasar, have been canceled or postponed, and the company urged all guests to update their contact details because they want to stalk you. Heads up. Whew. Boom! Yeah, I can't get enough of this. Let's just do it for a second. Oh. Good God Almighty. I hope there were no hikers up there. They got what they deserve. Worldwide volcano news update. We have Yasur volcanic ash, intermittent low-level eruption. We've been reporting on this uptick in recent weeks. And we have Sabancaya, intermittent emissions, Fuego, Popocatépetl, Tucono, Agung, Reventador, and on and on and on. Come check it out for yourself. Volcanoes, they's be exploding. Let's talk about J.D. Weatherspoon. Stop serving John Smiths due to CO2 shortage. Guys, it's the lowest CO2 we've ever had on the planet. There is no shortage. The shortage is coming from the global warming alarmists that are now taxing you for this. And now you can't... Look at this guy. His nose is very similar to the... Look at the... That's amazing. And we're going to leave on an insane happy note. As predicted, in these troughs, we're going to be seeing an uptick here, a rising up in the gray. So as we descend into the grand solar minimum, the original pattern, here's the multi-decadal average. We're going to stay well above it as we jump across during the summers. So this blue line is going to jump across during the summer, and that means we're heading into a glacial period. Glaciation, kids. And you're witnessing it. We're reporting on it. Sea ice thickness, 27th June 2018. As predicted, we are remaining above the 2014 levels, highest levels on the multi-decadal average. well above the multi-decadal average. And just as I showed you, we're going to stay above that across the summer and jump across the void. Jumping across the void and flattening this line out is what a ice age looks like. This is what a solar max looks like, up and down. This line is going to continue to flatten out as we build ice. So we're going to look for this, hopefully, based on predictions, to come above the red line. And we're just waiting on the June temperature data coming out in just a few days. Do you live in a hotspot for civil unrest? This means any city with 15,000 or more people, which is every city in the world, basically. You need to start preparing a plan. You're not going to want to stay in any of these areas where looting or dumb people are. And that's every city. If you live in a city with 150,000 plus, you're totally... If you live in a city with 1.5 million or more, and you think you're going to shelter in place, you're an idiot. You need a bug out plan. You need like-minded people. When the hits the fan, you need a plan. And that's a boom. Prepare now, survive later. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance in the future we're headed into. The next 2 years are going to be a primer. And they may be the last 2 years that we have satellite uplink for this YouTube channel. I can't implore you enough that there is no way to predict when the event will happen. It could be the financial collapse. It could be Indonesia blowing off a VEI-8 right now while I speak these words. And we would literally have 48 hours until the planet starts to darken. Can you imagine the panic? There are less than 30,000 subscribers to this channel. That is 0.1% of the United States. We are not prepared. You should be. Very few people make it through these times. A little bit of luck and a lot of prior planning will put you ahead of the game. And that's science. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. You are here. The time is now to start preparing for the future that lies ahead. In an instant, it will change. And if you're not ready, I'm praying for you. Be safe.